Welcome, everyone, to It Tastes Different Game Reviews. And what are we going to review tonight? Wulong Fallen Dynasty. Wulong Fallen Dynasty is an action role-playing game developed by Team Ninja and published by Koei Tecmo. Released on March 3rd, 2023, pretty much on PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One and X, Series S and X, all of it. No Switch version, is also on PC. PC port seems to be having some problems that hopefully they'll fix, but, so we'll kind of let these guys get into their initial reviews of this game. But basically it's a action role-playing game, kind of feudal Chinese style, and in Japanese, it's kind of a mixed match. There's dragons and there's samurais and there's this and that. So, but, mostly traditional Chinese culture type stuff. So, Shane, we'll go to you first. What is your take on Wulong Fallen Dynasty?
Wulong and tedious. I'm not a fan. This game is everybody's probably read it by now. The very first boss you come into is a bastard. It's like the hardest load of crap. Nick had to beat it for me because I could not get through his second phase. Couldn't do it. I mean, I'm not even ashamed of it. That's it sucked for me. The game itself up to that point, I enjoyed. I'm not a big fan of the controls or on it. I think the controls could, and I probably could set them up better. But I just don't take that kind of time. I think the game should be set up properly from the beginning. But the first boss sucked. Nick had to beat him for me. The game is not overly hard outside of that up to that point. Once you get through him, the minion characters you fight, the AI, they get a lot harder. But it's nothing too unbearable, especially when you do co-op. The co-op worked surprisingly well. My only problem with co-op was I would get lost, and I don't know if you guys had the problem, but I would get lost on who is who on the screen. Is that an AI? Oh, crap. He just cornholed me with a staff. Nope, that's not Pat. Then I'd be, have to go, take that one out, or I would end up swinging my sword trying to take Nick out. Nope, that's not an AI. That's Nick. So I had that problem. But the game is pretty. I give it that. The characters are really cool. I love the first boss design. He was designed to destroy me, and he did multiple times. I spent probably 50 fights trying to get through him, going back, trying to level up a little bit. Couldn't do it. I don't know if it's because I'm burned by him. That's why I don't care for the game as much as I would like to, because I was really looking forward to this game. I played the original demo and I enjoyed it. I played the second demo. I enjoyed it. I didn't get to the end of the demo. I was waiting for the full game to release. And it floored me, and it made me so angry I could not get through him. Getting through his first form didn't really take that much. It was that second form that just wrecked me. Even with the tips these guys gave me, Pat was clearly saying, do X, Y, and Z, and I would do it. I don't have the reflexes I used to. So a lot of the melee or parry stuff that you do, I would miss. And if I missed once, I would get into a rhythm of just missing everything. If I was doing good, I would do good. If I was doing bad, I would do bad. I don't know if it's just old man reflexes or what what they were when I was a kid, but I suck on it now. So I wanted to like this game. I did. I really, really did, because it's a nice looking game. Character designs are cool. The cutscene stuff was interesting. I don't really know what the story's going on, but I don't really care. It's that kind of a game that it's just enjoyable enough to not worry about the story, but it's not something I've gotten into. It's not something I can really praise on. I mean, most of my problems with the game are probably on me. I mean, yes, I could adjust my controller to, I've got a high dollar controller. I should be able to adjust it to make the commands easier for me, but I'm too lazy to do it because the game should have done it right the first time. Um, so I hate saying it, but this is not a me game. The co-op is fun, and that is the only fun that I did have was playing with these guys. I hate saying it, but it is. The only fun I had was playing with these guys. Now, I think Pat enjoyed it way more than me, which is kind of a surprise. But he's evolved as we've grown old together, and he plays these types of games now that drive him freaking nuts. So, but Nick, this is definitely a sadomasochistic candle wax on the nipples kind of game. So, what do you think?
Yes, it is. Wulong. It is. I like it. I enjoy this game. I think this game's a lot of fun. I like games like this, so this is right up my alley. I would agree that the first boss is quite the barrier for entry for players. Even for me, the first boss, I had to fight the first boss quite a few times before getting past the first boss. And then what you find is the bosses after that aren't as bad as that first boss is. That first boss I think it can be a deal breaker for a lot of people. And and you see some people online talk about that, right? And I think that's one thing that possibly Team Ninja could maybe look at. I don't know. I don't know if people want to change that or not, but I mean, it just seemed to be that stopping point for some people where they won't continue the game on, or maybe they refund it because they can't get past the first boss, right? When strangely, like I said, once you get past the first boss, the bosses after that are not as hard. Like I died probably like 10 times or so before beating the first boss. And once I got to the second boss, I think I killed on the first try, right? It was just like, and then bosses after that, very, very minimal try opportunities before we ended up finishing them. And I think most of the bosses me and Pat have done cooperatively, but still they weren't that difficult, not as difficult as the first one. So, but besides that, I enjoy this game a lot. It's kind of like, it's, of course, by the same team. It's by Team Ninja, who made Nioh. So it reminds me a lot of Nioh, which I enjoy that game as well. But this one's, I don't think this game is as difficult as Nioh, because I found Nioh to be, at certain spots within Nioh, to be very difficult. Where this game seems a little bit on the more user-friendly side of things, besides the first boss, but everything else seems a little bit more user-friendly side, just more of the masses side, right? Kind of like Dark Souls 3 was, where it was a little bit more open for other players to come in and play it, or maybe Elder Scrolls or something, or not Elder Scrolls, but Elden Ring, where a lot more people have access to it. It's still a difficult game, but it's not like, the barrier for entry is, the guy stopping you at the door because you're not of age, right, to get in. So yeah, but I mean, this game's a lot of fun. It's just like your average Souls-like game. You got hard enemies. Enemies respawn at battle flags in this case instead of bonfires. The nice thing is when you do initiate a battle flag, it does refill your health and your pots. If you're playing co-op, unfortunately, it only refills the person who put the battle flag in their health and pots, not everybody on the team. But this game also allows you to recruit not just users or players or your friends, but you can also recruit NPCs. Now, the NPCs are not that good, but they're good cannon fodder. So you can have them just go over there and kind of mess with the enemy while you stab the enemy in the back. So that's good. But I mean, it has your traditional stuff. You got, your weapons, skilling up your character, putting points into skill trees, and in this game it has wizardry skills. There's basically like magic skills that you learn, and you can unlock and learn those things and use that type of magic, and different kinds of weapons and armor, and kind of build your character how you want to. So there's all of that if you like that kind of stuff, and these types of games that kind of give you that opportunity. So ultimately, this game's a lot of fun. There's a lot of mechanics and systems in the works here. I think the level design's a lot of fun. There's a lot of hidden areas and places to go up and down, and a lot of hard enemies that you can tackle. But I think one of the things that I love about this game too is that the co-op, right? The co-op works really well. Me and Pat's played a lot of co-op. Me, Pat, and Shane played a few co-op sessions, and the co-op works really well. And the nice thing is that the progression, as long as you beat the level, if you're with your friends, you still get to level up your character and everything like that. So even if you start the game over, right, like you got a friend that comes in, he's starting the game from the beginning, past the first boss, because you can't get past that until you get co-op. And that's one of the things too that might help alleviate those first-time players, if maybe they changed it where you can do the first level in co-op, or at least do the boss in co-op, right? Like be able to call in a friend to help you with the first boss, because like I said, a lot of people have an issue with that. But the co-op works really well. So you can call in recruits, you can recruit a friend if you want to, recruit an NPC, or you can do a whole co-op session, and that works really well. And you can go out and you can fight. You can basically play the whole campaign together with your friends, which I like. I wish a lot more Souls-like games like this would do something like that. Nioh and Dark Souls have had co-op, right? Even Elden Ring had co-op. Elden Ring's co-op worked pretty well, but it was a little, you had to do a little bit of this and that to get it going. But it worked, right? This one is like basically you just start a co-op session and then you go in, right? Where Elden Ring was a little bit different than that. And whereas Dark Souls and Nioh is like, you got to get these items and, ring the bells and click the hills and all that stuff. And then a friend can come in for like 5 seconds. And, that's how those games work, right? So this does it a lot better. I hope they continue to make more games, Souls-like games, if they're going to make difficult games like this, where you do have the ability to co-op with friends and just go through it. We had a lot of fun in Elden Ring doing that, doing the co-op. I think a lot of us played a lot of the games single player, but it was nice to then go in and like do some co-op stuff together, just go around and fight bosses and do various things like that. So that part I enjoy, and that's one thing I enjoy about this game. But there's a lot to this game that I enjoy, but overall I really like it. What do you think, Pat?
Yeah, I like this game a lot too. It surprised me, to be honest with you, because in the beginning I was just like Shane. I was so pissed off at that first boss. I was literally like cussing up a storm in our group chat about, in our texting group chat, because I'm like, this boss is stupid. If the whole game's like this, what the hell's the point? Like I think I fought him 30 times before I finally beat him. It was a lot. Like I spent 2 hours in the demo and trying to beat him, and I couldn't beat him. And then the game released, and I think I put another 2 hours in. And I was just to the point to where I'm like, I am not going to play this game on the boss. And then I ended up looking online for some strategies and some hints, because, the game kind of gives you a little bit of hints on what you're supposed to do, but it doesn't, as somebody who's new to this type of series of game, like I never played Nioh, but I heard the game is just like Nioh and stuff like that, and a few others. It doesn't, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm just going to try to get some whacks on the guy a few times, get away from him, and then get back in and hit him a couple more times, and then get back out and then hit him some more. And I was just doing that tactic over and over, and I can get phase 1 down like it was nobody's business. I can get through phase 1 without even taking a hit, and then phase 2 come around. I'm like, I cannot. This guy he's just mercilessly attacking me. And then you come to find out that there's strategies and tips and things for beating him. And what it ended up coming down to for me was that I didn't realize 2 things happened. I didn't realize that, if you did like the perfect parry, it's at that time on a certain move, it would stun him and give you the ability to do like an empowered spirit attack on him. And then when he got halfway down, you can use your spirit beast or whatever the heck it's called, divine beast, on him. I got him down to a quarter health one time and didn't even realize that the divine beast thing was popping up. I'm pretty sure that happened a lot until I read online. Oh, you only got to get him halfway and then your divine beast will charge. I'm like, the hell? Where does that come from? And then, and so, I had to get online to get some strategies to finally beat him because I was just getting so frustrated. And what really pissed me off about online was there's a vast majority of the people online weren't very helpful. They were the get good douchebags, and I'm like, that's not helpful. You guys should want to foster people to make your game popular, because all I read in forum after forum after forum was I'm refunding. And that's, I read a lot of that. And that if that is true, that even a marked percentage of those people were really refunding, then you're losing sales and your game's not going to get a sequel. So why are people douchebags in that sense? Because really the strategy should have been like, oh, you've never played this game. You need to look out for the red attack abilities and you need perfect parry those so that you can build up their stun gauge, because they have a stun gauge, that you're building up, or, a phase gauge or whatever you want to call it. But they're building up a gauge that you have to, once it gets up to a certain point, it pretty much means you get to hit them with like a super high damaging ability, empowered spirit attack. So, and that's what I was missing. And I'm like, okay, so got that. And I got him down pretty quick. And then when we got to playing, I was like, that pisses me off even more, because that's a gatekeeper is all he was. Because once you start playing the game, just like Nick said, the rest of the boss, I've yet to run into a boss that's that difficult. I mean, Nick and I think the most difficult boss, we ran into two difficult bosses, really. It was the cow one, the cow demon thing, and then the guy on the horseback. Everybody else has been kind of like cheesy, it's like, not cheesy, but you can figure out how their moveset is and get them down pretty quick and easy, and things like that. So, I think that's the detriment. Toxic community is probably a little bit of a detriment, because I went out looking for assistance on how I could beat that first boss, because I was just so frustrated. Because, I'm like, I'm not the masochist that Nick is. I'm not going to pound on a boss and then play further just to spend another 2 to 4 hours trying to beat another boss and things like that. So that's not, I was like, I'm not going to like this game. But once I got past the first boss, the levels and the rest of the bosses are fun. It's really fun. I played quite a bit on my own. I played with Nick, and I'm like, that first little bit of the thing painted this game in a light that it is not. Because I'm sorry, the rest of the game isn't that difficult as the first boss. It's not. Now, I didn't beat the game, so I don't know if the last area bosses are going to be like that. But so far, we're in like area 5 or something like that, and they're not that difficult. So I don't know. I like it. It's a really good game, but that almost ruined it for me. It was like literally like this close for me just saying, Nick, you're reviewing this one on your own, is how close it was for me. But then when I beat it and I got it out, I'm like, this is fun. I want to play more. And I played quite a bit of it. It's got all the RPG elements that you could want. It's got armor. You got different armors for your gloves, your helmet, your chest, your legs. You got weapon slots for close range. You got trinkets. You got all kinds of stuff. And they have these 5 phases that they've got that they're like the whole rock, paper, scissors thing, where you have wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. And each one of them counteracts the other one, like metal counteracts wood counteracts earth, different things like that, and then and so on and so forth. So, I mean, it's a fun game. It's got a lot to it. Multiple different types of weapons, swords, from single wielding to dual wielding to heavy two-handeds, all kinds of different things that you can think of. And little side quests that don't really track, but you just got to keep record of side quests that are in the game. You're like, oh, this person lost something, you go find it. This person wants something, go find it. So I enjoy the game, really fun. But I came this close to just spitting on its name, and cursing the name of the game. And I don't know why they gate kept the game so hard. That first boss was just stupid. And it could be that maybe the end of the game is going to be that way, but the amount of time that I put into it so far would have been me calling it a great game. If it, is me calling it a great game, but if I couldn't got past that first boss, I would have said, this is a stupid game. It's garbage, and who wants to play this? And the community helped enforce that, because the majority of the people out there were like, oh, you just got to get good. You suck, get good. And I'm like, you could just go suck off, because I'm done here. And then somebody giving tangible, real advice to somebody who's never played this series or anything like that. I'm like, okay, that's what I'm missing. Thanks for the help. And then I was able to beat him within a few tries after learning those mechanics that I needed, that I somehow overlooked or missed, or maybe they were fed to me in the demo, but I had played the demo in like, a couple of weeks or something like that, 3 or 4 weeks or something. And I'm like, all right, so I didn't get to do this. So, but I love the game now. I've had great success with it, and I want to keep playing it. So, but the game was this close to making me say it's a shitty game.
Well, the moral of the story is don't be douche knuckles. If somebody's got an issue and they need help. If you enjoy the game, help and make it enjoyable for everybody else. I mean, just answer a simple question like, hey, how does this phase work? I'm not getting it. Help them out. Provide, respectful, responsible response. Not get good, which is only a tool would say. So, people have got to stop that crap, because I want to enjoy this game, but if I was Pat in that situation, I don't think I would have went as far as he did to get those answers. But even if I did, though, Pat provided me the answers, I still couldn't do it. And that sucked. I mean, he's right. The first boss should be an introduction to the game, not
soul crushing.
Exactly. Not such a detrimental pain in the ass that, you just give up hope. I mean, and I think that's one of the reasons I don't really feel for this game. I don't care if this game is, it burnt me so freaking bad on that first boss. When they were, playing together already, and I'm still trying to get through it. And it's like, Pat's like, oh, just take you a little break. No, give me this I was ready to just rip that damn, thing apart, but I couldn't do it. I could not get that first boss down. And if you haven't played yet, phone a friend, because I couldn't do it. Granted, it's a little more on the reflex side of it. Maybe I'm just, I get overexcited. I'm tapping that button too damn fast or too slow. If I mess up once, it just, it throws my brain into a fog. But if I hit it right, I'm doing really well overall. And that's how I could get through that first phase. Really not much of an issue. It's that second phase that just pulls your cheeks apart and, tears you a new one. So, but
what
I wish the game was a little more forgiving on that first boss. Maybe I wouldn't be so, down on it.
Well, and I will say that the game's control, like you were saying, the one thing weird about the controls, and the one thing it took me to get used to, is that you just can't mash the parry button, because if you double tap the parry button, it's a roll dodge.
Yep.
And I'm like, and it took me so long to figure out why I couldn't get like the perfect parry off on him. I'm like, what's going on here? Because I would do it the same way. I would barely miss it, and I would start just double tapping it, and with my and that causes you to do the dodge.
Yep.
Which I don't like, but it is what it is, and it adds to their own little ability, because they have this whole thing called the spirit gauge, where you constantly sit in the middle, and as you do like perfect dodges or you hit them, it builds up spirit. But if you do the parries or the dodge without something coming at you, the spirit gauge goes into the negative, and you can get to the point to where you are bottomed out and you can't parry or dodge anything. No matter what you do, you're just stuck there. You use the spirit gauge for a lot of things. It's used for spirit attacks. It's used for dodging. It's used for parrying. It's used for the martial arts attacks. I mean, it's used for a lot of things. And so if you're just constantly dodging, because that's what I'm used to in Elden Ring, I dodged. That was my go-to. I didn't do the parry a lot. I just did the perfect dodges or the roll dodges all the time to get out of my way and swing around to get where I want to. But in this game, that's not what you can't just go around dodging everything, because then you just burn your entire spirit pool up and you're standing there with your sword just swinging. And when they go to do an empowered attack, you have no way to defend against that because you haven't built up enough spirit back to defend. So I don't like that the parry and the dodge button are the same. So double tapping it Like I said, I did the same thing. I got excited. I'm like, oh crap, he's coming. So I'm just hitting that parry button, and it's not just parry, it's parry dodge, And I'm like, oh crap. Now I have no spirit left. I'm standing there going, I can't get to him and hit him. So.
And one of my biggest peeves with the controls is the weapon changing on it. I do not like that. I absolutely hate the way you swap your melee and your ranged weapons on this game. To me, it's just a stupid ass way to do it. I mean, the D-pad is right there. You should be able to just, boom, no problem. But it makes you hold, I think, was it right bumper and then you click left or right, and I will accidentally hit it. Next thing you know, I'm throwing rocks at frickin' somebody. It's just
yeah. You pull down left trigger and it pulls you into ranged mode, and then you push right trigger and it fires it.
Yeah. So. I hate that. I
don't do a whole lot of weapon swapping, to be honest with you, in this game. I stick with my primaries. Now I do range to like pull somebody out of a group. I'm like, I don't want 4 of those assholes. I only want that one guy. So I'm going to shoot him with a range ability, run around the corner so he comes over there and I can fight him. So I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I wish I could enjoy this game more, but it is funner when I play with you guys. Maybe, Nick can start a toll-free number service, and he can just sign into your account like he did mine, and help you out. So it's $5.99 a minute. Nick, I'm getting $3.99 of that.
I'm pretty sure it's a little disheartening, right? Because I like I said, I fought him like I'm dead honest. Like I spent 4 hours total when I looked at it trying to kill him, and that's probably 30 times trying to kill him and dying and kill him and dying, and then and Nick probably spent like 10 times dying to kill him, and I'm like, whatever. And then he hops onto your account and kills him in the first go, and you're like, you asshole, You're like, I hate you.
And you could feel him gloat when he texted too, couldn't you? I mean, just like. Done.
Yeah, it was done. That's all I saw was done. I'm like, didn't he just get on? So
yeah, it was right after I messaged that it was to find out if it worked, because I didn't know, and it had the cloud save so I could load his account up. But yeah, and of course it loaded in, like he's right there at the boss anyway. So
right, but. It just still sucks. You'll spend so much time. Like I was like, what am I going to, because my thought process was like, what am I going to do if I can't beat this boss and I'm not able to actually review this game or to play with those guys? I'm like, it's going to be a 2-man review and, and Nick's going to love it. Yeah. And then Shane was struggling. I'm like, okay, I don't feel so bad because Shane was quiet. I thought the entire time he already beat him because Shane was quiet. And Nick's like, I already beat it. I'm doing this and that. And I'm like, why the hell am I struggling so damn hard with this game? And I'm like, Shane beat it, Nick beat it, and I can't beat it. I suck. I need to stop playing. And then when I was getting through there, Shane's like, oh, I haven't done it yet. And I'm like, assholes. So.
Yeah, you got to him first, and I listened to your struggles. Like, oh crap, I better get back in on this. And it was right after you said you did it, and just was not liking it. I really wish this game wouldn't have hurt me so bad at the beginning, because I think I probably would enjoy it as much as you guys now. But it's kind of like an ex-wife. You get burnt once. It's really hard to be happy afterwards. So
it's the who hurt you. That boss did. All right. Well, you guys got anything else you want to chat about on this game? I think we've all covered just about the basics of it. The only thing we left out was about the morale. Every level starts you out at morale level 0, and that's how there's kind of like a leveling system between you and the enemies, because the enemies are morale levels as well. And as you work your way through the map and find flags, defeat more enemies, your morale goes up. But if you die, your morale can go back down to a certain point. The more flags you get keeps you at a certain morale level no matter what you die. But you also, just like Dark Souls and all the other stuff, you gain chi in this game, and chi is what you spend to level up. So when you die, you lose chi. You can go get revenge on the guy that killed you to get your chi back. And things like that. But like I said, the morale thing is kind of interesting. So when you start out, you're level 0 morale, you may run into enemies that are 5, 10, 15, 13 level morale that they will wax the floor with you if you try to jump on them at a level 0 morale. So Just one little couple caveats there that we missed. But Nick, Shane, you guys got anything else you want to chat about on this game? Any tips, tricks?
No, sir.
Get good.
Get good.
Choke you. But all right. Well, let us know what you think down in the comments. What do you think about games like this? What do you think about games like this that gatekeep the game behind this unrealistic first boss? Like, I understand like Dark Souls and even Elden Ring, they intend for you to die on the first boss. That's the whole point. I mean, even what is it, Sekiro? I think you die on the first boss, and that's the way it works, So, but this game's like, no, you got to beat the first boss, and you're like, this guy sucks, And so, let us know what you think. If you played the game, how hard was the first boss for you? Did you pass him with no guff? Did you have to fight him a bunch of times? What was your experience with that first boss? And then what was your experience afterwards? Because my experience was the game is different enough that it wasn't nowhere near as hard as that. So let us know what you think down in the comments. Make sure if you're not subscribe to the channel to help us out so we can keep making new videos. And as always, we hope you enjoyed this video, and we hope to catch you in the next one.
See ya.